time each event in your future will take place, exactly what you need now to make it take place then. But your future is not fixed. It changes with every choice you make. But whatever choice you make, it knows the series of events after that. And if you wish to get to a certain point in your life in future, it knows how to get there exactly, step by step.
There is an old saying that says, "When spirit commands, the universe obeys." To spirit, everything is instant, for it is all over the field at the same time. A big reason that you experience non-instantaneous gratification of your wishes is because you may not be listening to spirit. The main reason that things seem to take time to become from when you wish them to be to when you experience them is that you may not be listening to spirit. If you were aware of what spirit is choosing at every stage, and you know this through intuition and feelings, you would choose the same, and as soon as you choose, you would find that what you chose has popped up right in your face, ready to be experienced. Try to see this. Your spirit has everything instantaneously. There are no delays between choice and having, but your consciousness usually experiences a delay. That delay is caused by differences in choice between what your ego, your personality here on earth, chooses and what your self chooses. Remember, you are yourself, but you also have an ego and personality and mind. So all choices are yours, but your spirit's choices are the most powerful, so to speak. Yet all choices are acted upon by the universe. If your self chooses to experience a choice called A1 and your ego chooses A2, you will get to A2, but you will find a delay in time due to the confusion both choices pass on to the universe. But if you choose A1 and spirit chooses A1, then you will find no delay at all. People now call these occurrences synchronicity. It happens when you think of something or a person, and immediately when you think this, the same thing or person coincidentally appears or calls you just right then. And you say, "Wow, what a coincidence." But it is not a coincidence. It is just unison between spirit choices and ego, mind and emotional choices. All your other parts chose what your spirit part chose, and the result of the choice was instantaneous. You see, your desires arise from spirit. Spirit chooses just the right sequence of events to arrive at a desired end. Remember, you are your spirit, so these are your choices. But you have many components and levels, some that you are not conscious of unless you choose to be. Fear is in the world of ego, so is emotions and non-detachment, and so on. These things inhibit instantaneous manifestation of your choices, even if you were to know what spirit is choosing. And fear is false evidence appearing real. Emotions are past conditioning. They are reactions instead of creation, and life is about recreation. Non-detachment rises out of fear, out of illusion that loss and failure is an actual existence. Learn to be aware, intuitive, detached, and creative, instead of reactive, and start seeing fear as false evidence appearing real, and you will start to experience more and more of your choices the instant you make them, or very soon after you make them. Learn to trust your intuition. Realize that you are a soul, and your true nature is indestructible and all-knowing. There, everywhere, and you have all. Your body and ego are just illusions made to enable you to experience yourself. You, at the level of spirit, are in your future even right now as you read this. Why then would you fear the next moment? It is already taken care of by you, and you cannot possibly hurt yourself. Even death, the thing that people most fear, is senseless to fear. Think about it. Spirit was done with its body. What can the body possibly do to prevent spirit from leaving and taking away life? Nothing. If spirit chooses to move on, that is it. It cannot be trapped. And what can the body do to leave the spirit if the spirit still needs body? Nothing. Spirit is in past, present, and future and can see things the body cannot. Body cannot conspire against spirit. Do you see how ego fights a fruitless war of fear against death and everything else? Do you see how fear itself is the destroyer? Spirit loses nothing. It cannot possibly lose. It knows that even after the body dies, spirit is still intact as it was before, and it is all good. It is ego that fears death, and only because death is unknown. People who know death cease to fear it, as you may have heard. Now think about your birth. Just as you may not be aware of the all of the choices that you are making as spirit, just a few of them, you most likely are unaware of the choices you made with regards to your birth. That does not mean that there were no choices made. You chose a purpose, as we saw in the chapter on purpose. You had many purposes, desires, and wishes for further growth in various aspects. You chose the exact right circumstances, body, configuration, and location to be born in to fulfill your desires, purposes, choices for growth, and to stop believing in certain illusions. At every moment, you sent yourself the right people and things in your life to take you to the next step. Sometimes your ego refused to take them, but nevertheless, you sent them. Do you start to see how it all works? If you are still not convinced, think about this. What do people say when they are thinking of suicide? I can't live with myself anymore. Look at that statement. There are two people in one. It is like a person saying, I cannot live with this other guy anymore. Yet it is two individuals in one. One of them feels immortal and desires to end association with the other, which it knows is mortal, and the one where the suffering is coming from. Deep within everybody there is knowledge that we are an immortal soul with a mortal illusionary body and ego. It is in believing in our illusionary part is the real part that all suffering comes from. It is when we live in the illusion instead of using it as we came to do that causes pain and lacking. The illusions are very necessary. They are beautiful gifts, but start using them instead of living in them. Vipassana, insight or mindfulness, meditation, takes your awareness to the level where you can watch your subconscious mind create thought. You can observe your sponsoring thoughts. It gives you a chance to fix your subconscious and ego through a process called mindfulness. It also takes you to levels beyond the subconscious. It is a wonderful tool. You are your spirit, not your body, personality, conditions, or anything else. Yet your spirit is eternal and all that is. Your spirit is real. You are spirit. You are real. The real creates the illusion, not the other way around. The spirit or soul chooses a purpose or purposes when it chooses to manifest itself as a human being on earth. This purpose is co-chosen with all other spirits, with the One. It chooses what it wishes to experience in this physical plane. It gets a body and mind to experience these things. Now, it communicates to the body and mind through desires and feelings, but it never enforces its choices. Body and mind are free to choose whether or not to experience those desires. Often, out of fear or past conditioning, they choose not. Yet the desire does not go away. It remains until fulfilled. When the body and mind are in disagreement or opposition to the soul, a person will experience dissatisfaction. When body, mind, and soul agree, the creative force is phenomenal. Waiting ends, and joyous experience occurs without resistance. The soul then knows itself experientially. At all times you are free to choose what you wish to experience, and at all times your soul communicates to you, but you can choose not to listen, as many people have done in the past. Nothing real can be threatened. A Course in Miracles. All other things held constant, to the extent that an individual or society lives as souls with bodies, minds, and egos, instead of the other way around, so will they have wealth and happiness. The greatest advice that can be given to you now is this: meditate daily. If you do not go within, you go without. Meditation takes you in to meet yourself in infinity. It cannot be explained, only experienced. Talking about infinity, let's take a brief look at the One. 1. All that is. Hinduism taught it in a different way. Buddha does the same in a different way. Tao did the same in a different way. Jesus and Muhammad taught it in a different way. Quantum physics teaches it in a different way. Just about every spiritual teacher, sage, quantum physicist, and religion teaches us, in its own different way, that we are all one, and by acting in that awareness we move forward fastest, most richly and least painfully. This is nothing new, but often we have refused to listen. Now, in your quest for wealth and joy, you may wish to look at this again. Everything is all one, the same being, individuated in different guises. In other words, everything is a localized point in and of the source of all that is, of God. Nothing can possibly exist outside of and separate from the source. The individuation and the illusions of separation are necessary, as we saw in the chapter on self. But they are only great tools when used as tools. When they are believed in as realities instead of illusions, they destroy and cause unnecessary suffering and inadequacy.
Let us look very briefly into this oneness. Once you realize, feel, and act from this position of oneness, you will start seeing that you already are one with all things you desire and with all the people and things that will bring wealth to you.
You will see that you are the one making the request for your desires, the same one communicating that request, the same one fulfilling that request, and the same one experiencing the manifestation of your request. Hence you need not worry. The illusion that you are not the same one is there just for your thrill and experience. This chapter will only take a brief look at this oneness, merely to give you evidence and to start you thinking about it. It will merely start you on a journey that only you can take, for it cannot be said, only experienced. We are all one. You are one with the Source, and nothing is difficult or denied from, by, and to the Source. The universe is friendly to your desires. Nothing is impossible, if only you will believe. You can never permanently own anything on earth. Life is change, and one is all there is. Ownership is a detrimental state of mind that allows what you think you own to own you. Again, here on earth, what you think you own ends up owning you, possessing you, taking away a part of your freedom. Think about that for a moment. Everything is one. How then can you own a part of the one? How can your leg own your hand? Your leg can play with your hand for a while, but it cannot own it. This works the same way with you and the rest of life. When you think you own something, you chase it about to prevent the loss of it, a chase that is fruitless. Hence, it owns you. Instead, think of yourself as a custodian of things until it is time to not be their custodian. Whether you like it or not, when the time comes or when your life on earth moves on, you will have to release all these things. Even your own body is eventually released from its present form. So enjoy, share, and have these things, but do not think that you are their owner. You can be that, but you cannot really own that. It is all one, and one is always changing. Everything and everyone is connected. All life is one. What happens in Kabul affects you, somehow, wherever you are. And what happens with you, the thoughts you have, and so on, affects everyone else everywhere, somehow. So for your own sake, think, act, and be as one. Superiority and inferiority is not inbuilt in people and things. Seeing things in terms of better or worse is a judgmental weakness. This is especially a weakness of nations, whereby one government will consider itself superior to another, especially economically and systematically. It is also a weakness of social classes. An extremely high amount of wars, corporate collapses, and societal divide have been caused by the idea that my way is better than your way. Disharmony is costly and never profitable on the long term for anybody. Harmony is extremely profitable. You can avoid disharmony by looking at everyone around you not as better or worse compared to you or anything else, but as different. In other words, one entity's way is not a better or worse way. It is just a different way. This is a much more peaceful and profitable approach to everyone and everything else. Being special is not the same as being better. An entity can be special, but that does not make it better. If you wish to always be in harmony with the incredibly powerful laws of the universe, simply act as if the whole universe is one unit with no separation between its seemingly separated components. For example, to know how to handle a business opponent in a way that will profit you the most, act as if your opponent and you are one. Treat him or her in that way. There is not a person alive who is not capable of greatly contributing to the well-being of this planet. Just changing your attitude can affect the world around you. Susan Jeffers. It is in your best interests to do your part to ensure that people all over the earth have wealth consciousness and joy. Many thinkers and scientists are beginning to show that an individual's thoughts affect the whole world's thoughts, An individual was responsible for what happens in the world and to everyone on it. The ancient Greeks had a similar concept, Gaia. It has been mentioned by many philosophers all over the world, from ancient Greece by Plato to ancient Asia and the Far East. Modern scientists and thinkers in various fields of science are also starting to study and show that we are all connected. These connections are being found in various forms and in various fields of science. These findings include those by scientists such as Dr. John Lovelock, Peter Russell in his book The Global Brain Awakens, the British biologist Rupert Sheldrake in his book A New Science of Life, Howard Bloom in his book Global Brain, and many others. If you wish to be wealthy, you can do so on your own. But you can do so a lot easier and to a much larger extent, by far, if you help the world attain wealth consciousness. It has been said before in many places that the reason the one chooses to individuate itself is this: in the absence of that which is not, that which is not. Think about that. So the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. And when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against the stumbling stone. Aye, and he falls for those ahead of him who, though faster and surer of foot, yet removed not the stumbling stone. The murdered is not unaccountable for his own murder, and the robbed is not blameless for being robbed. Yea, the guilty is oftentimes the victim of the injured. Khalil Gibran. Let us revisit quantum physics briefly. We saw that subatomic particles are what make up the physical universe. We also saw that these particles have intelligence. We saw that this pure energy has intelligence. It also has remarkable properties such as being able to be in two places at once and move from here to there without crossing the gap in between, to travel back and forth into time, and so on. We also saw that we were in relation and collaboration with these particles, for what we chose to observe is what becomes from this energy pool. Now, what do you suppose these energy packets are? What is pure energy? Before we attempt to answer that question, let us look at the source, all that is, what many call God. We have been told that we are children of God, in the image and likeness of God, and that God is all that is. Now let us go back to where God was the absolute only, before creation. In truth, there is no such straight timeline, but let us imagine that there is, for the sake of study. Okay, so we are now looking at God before creation. God was out there all alone. Remember, in the absence of that which is not, that which is not. In the realm of the absolute, there only exists one and nothing else to compare itself against. So experiencing itself was not possible. The one had to individuate into a duality, a realm of relativity. When the one did that, there now was a this and that. Now this duality could allow experience. Day could experience itself against night, and vice versa. The same was possible with all the opposite dualities or individuations, such as man and woman, up and down, left and right, and so on. And each of these dualities had their own similar dualities. For example, a woman or man had the dualities of sad or happy, and so on. And even happy had its dualities of very happy and not so happy, and so on. And the total of these experiences is the experience of the one. But for our discussion now, we are looking at the initial duality that first came of the one, before that initial duality split again. Now let us get back to the question of what energy is. Okay, so from one, we have the initial duality. Now let us call that duality spirit and anti-spirit. By the way, quantum scientists have discovered that subatomic particles all have an opposite. So a proton has an antiproton, and so on. But in our part of the universe, these antiparticles are not present because antiparticles destroy particles when they meet. Scientists talk of these as the matter and antimatter of the universe. So the part of one that is spirit individuates itself again into infinite little parts, or spirits. By the way, individuation is not the same as separation. Quantum physicists have also seen that although they call a subatomic particle a particle, it really is not a thing, yet it is the building block of things. And although a subatomic particle has a wave-like behavior and a particle-like behavior, there are no particles running around, nor waves fluctuating. You cannot visualize a subatomic particle. You can only calculate it and experience it. Subatomic particles behave as spirits would. Why do they do that? Now do you see what pure energy is? It is spirit. Everything in this part of the universe is energy. Energy is matter, one and the same thing. E equals mc squared. Yet spirit is energy, and hence spirit is matter. You see, there are no clear lines of definition and separation. All that is really is one. Individuation is not separation. Think of individuation as the having of many dimensions, not the separation into many separate things. So think of the world as dimensions or facets of the same one, not as separate things. The other part of the universe, for everything is a duality, is the anti-universe, made up of antimatter. But that is another topic altogether. The point is that you can now trace the origins and explanation of the universe and its link to spirit and to all. You now remember who you really are, who we really are, and why we did all this. You now also know that what the source is, you are. It is a very complex topic, and you do not need to understand it fully. Just knowing the truth is enough, and you do not need to explain it in detail. All other things held constant, to the extent that an individual or society is one, so will they have wealth and happiness. Again, the greatest advice that can be given to you now is this: meditate daily. Soon, maybe on your first meditation, maybe later, you will come to experience this oneness, and you will be amazed at it. It cannot be spoken of, only experienced. This is a journey only you can take on your own. Meditation takes you in to meet yourself in infinity. It cannot be explained, only experienced. Now, if you are one with the Source and all there is, guess what else you are? You are abundant by nature. Let us have a look at your abundance. How to listen to and understand this program. The way to understand this program is to listen to it once in its entirety. As you hear it, you will have many questions, and some things may not make sense to you when you listen to them. Never mind, just keep listening. Further chapters will make clear some things that you may not have understood or found true in earlier chapters. Language is a linear thing, yet wealth consciousness is wholeness, a nonlinear whole, and one whereby step 1 may be connected to step 7, and so on. And wealth consciousness is a state of being, while language is a symbol. States have to be experienced, and symbols cannot represent experience accurately. They can only show the way, be a guide. So as you listen to it, you will find many amazing things that make sense right away, but it will only totally make sense when you finish this program and have the whole of it in you. That is when you will start to go, aha! Once you listen to this program fully, listen to it again slowly. In the second listening, you will be able to more fully understand things, since you now will have the whole in you. The material you will find in this program contains many layers of understanding. What you understand today will reveal an even deeper hidden truth, application, and identification when you listen to it again tomorrow. Listen to a small part of this program every day, even after you finish it the first time, and your internalization of wealth and happiness and your becoming of wealth and happiness will accelerate. The other thing you should do is to not only listen to it with your logical mind, but to also feel the lessons in this program. Some of the things in this program are logical, but many pertain to a realm where logic cannot fully grasp, yet yourself knows it all and perfectly understands it. As you listen to this program, keep yourself open. Feel the essence of what you listen to. Many things will not make sense to your brain, for it is finite and four-dimensional. Some things are infinite and multidimensional, and only yourself will know them because it is multidimensional and infinite in nature. Sometimes you will feel that you understand something at a deeper level, but your mind cannot picture it, yet you understand deeply somewhere. Honor the deeper level, for the mind may never fully grasp it anyway. In any case, your mind is a tool,
but all you know is in yourself. You are a self with a mind as a powerful tool, as long as it does not overtake you. However, most people have unfortunately identified with the mind and believe that they are their mind, and that is where the trouble and limitations start. You shall now go higher than that. Listen to this program and take it to heart, live by it, and wealth, affluence, and abundance will automatically come to you in ways and amounts that you never before imagined possible by laws that never fail. Get a portable CD or MP3 player and carry it around with you wherever possible. Keep it by your bedside and listen to it for a few minutes every morning when you get up and at night before you go to sleep. When you are done, start again, a few minutes every day. Repetition causes internalization, making it your second nature. You will understand this material to the extent that you are willing. Ready? Still interested? Let's begin. Abundance. You have it all. You have seen that you are one with the source, one with all that is. This makes you abundant. You have also seen how you created reality out of the quantum field simply by using your thoughts, states of being, words, and actions. You have also seen how anything is possible when you believe and choose consistently with clarity. All this makes you abundant. At your highest level, you are naturally, ever-presently abundant. There is nothing you have to do, and you cannot be anything other than abundant. Let us look at aspects of this abundance and how to make it materialize in your life. You are one with all that is. Spend your money gladly, cheerfully, and with excitement. Whether you are buying items or paying bills, be glad that you are doing it. Money runs away from those who feel it is in shortage, those who have negativity towards its use. Nature is capable of giving you all your desires without losing anything itself. Scarcity is not real. It only appears when we choose to see it. The source of all that is can never run out of creative power and ability. 1,000,000 times of what has been created can be created again. The supply is unlimited. Thoughts of scarcity take away abundance from your life. They manifest scarcity into the physical. To avoid scarcity, eliminate all thoughts of competition and instead choose creation. Competition is a statement to the universe that you believe your survival is at risk and there is not enough. So are thoughts of cheating, squeezing, manipulating, and taking advantage of people, paying unfairly, coveting other people's property, envy, and the like. These thoughts only create non-wealth consciousness and cause scarcity. You can get temporarily rich this way, but you cannot rise to your full potential this way, and indeed, you may even fall. Never look at the visible supply. Look always at the limitless riches in formless substance and know that they are coming to you as fast as you can receive and use them. Nobody, by cornering the visible supply, can prevent you from getting what is yours. Wallace D. Wattles. You are made in the image and likeness of the Source, God. Abundance and affluence are your natural states. In the deepest part of you, you already know this to be so. All you need is to remember this, so as to experience what you truly are. The universe has more than enough business and wealth for everyone. Way more than enough. People are not poor because nature is poor. People are poor because their wealth consciousness is poor. Even in 1,000,000,000 lifetimes, let alone one lifetime, you cannot possibly finish the wealth given to you free by life. But you can fail to receive it by your own thoughts, words, actions, and most of all, your chosen state of being, your I am statements and truths that you uphold about yourself. The idea that a person fails in wealth building because of competition or other such circumstances is illusionary. The so-called competition and negative circumstances are created by a person who believes in scarcity. They come to such a person in the most amazing way to fulfill the person's self-set limits. Abundance, affluence, and wealth are your birthright. Poverty is a transgression of the laws of the universe. The universe, by law and design, is not a place where poverty is natural. It is an abnormality. Do not scare away money by saying and thinking there is not enough of it. You cannot even begin to ponder the infinite vastness of the readily and freely available supply of value creation material and energy you have access to. Do not manipulate people and things. That is competitive thinking. Creative thinking is more effective and true to the nature of abundance. Competitive thinking makes you think in terms of scarcity that has to be fought for, and that is what you get. Why would you wish to create scarcity? Economics teaches about scarcity of resources. None of that is true. Economics was invented at a time when people believed in scarcity. This belief caused the world to be scarce, to perpetuate an illusion of scarcity, and hence the study of economics proclaimed that resources are scarce. Economics is derived from observation. It totally ignores first cause, spirit, and state of being. We are only now beginning to see that certain resources can never run out. For example, software, music, or other digital content downloaded or broadcast cannot run out. How do you run out of a software download? No matter how many copies you download, there still remains that original copy that everyone is downloading. One copy multiplies as much as is needed without costing the maker any more money. We will soon come to know experientially that if enough of us put our mind on it, we could regrow the entire Earth's forests in a few years, create new water, or do anything else. Do not believe in the economics of scarcity. If you do, it will become true for you, a self-fulfilling prophecy of scarcity. Economics was a study of scarcity at a time when scarcity was all there was. That is why it is failing to apply to new economy, businesses, and calculations today. If you do not believe this, have a look at history. At one time, people were sure the earth was flat, and all their evidence at the time told them this was true. Then they believed the sun rotated around the earth, and all their evidence at that time told them this was true. Yet we now know that the earth is the one rotating around the sun. Or do we? In other words, whatever we hold as true is what becomes true, even though it may not be the ultimate truth. When we start questioning, we uncover a more correct truth that is closer to ultimate truth. There is always room for more revelation. You cannot say that your current answer is the ultimate truth. Our finite minds are incapable of taking in the totality of ultimate truth, which is infinite. We can only take small segments of it at a time. Never stop learning. Always be humble with what you know now, and you will know more. Scientists are only now discovering that this universe is not a four-dimensional one, but a multidimensional one, like a hologram. It is our senses that are four-dimensional: length, width, height, and time. A person's self is multidimensional, but their senses on their physical plane are, for the most people, four-dimensional in their capabilities. The universe itself is multidimensional, whereby all possibilities exist altogether. Think about that carefully. Scarcity is not a reality. It is a perception of an aspect of that holographic universe. You can always choose which aspect you wish to perceive and experience by choosing what you wish to truly believe and hold as unquestionably true. There is an infinite source of supply. When you are not having what you would like, know that your thoughts are at fault, not the universe. Accept full responsibility honestly and make amendments. But never talk or think of lack or shortages, for in that thought is the cause of lack and shortages. Broke is temporary, but poor is a mental condition, a disease of the mind, and it is more lasting. Yet all can be overcome. How much is enough? Considering the fact that supply is infinite, then enough is probably the amount that allows you to live as you would wish to live, whether you are working or not. You then choose when to play and when to work as you feel like, not because you need money. Hence, conditionality and need move away from you and let you explore other aspects of life other than money. Abundance is all there is, and sharing, not owning, is the way to receive this abundance. Competition is unnecessary. It is a statement of scarcity, a fallacy. Competition in a business is a statement of scarcity and a bringer of scarcity. Creativity is a statement of abundance, the natural state. Shift from competitive to creative thought and see how that works for you.
This is a universe of abundance. No one is going to take your share or beat you to it. There is more than enough for everyone. The only time there is not enough, the only time when you are beaten to it, is when you think and act competitively instead of thinking and acting creatively and trusting the abundant nature of the source. Thinking and acting competitively makes it harder for you to correctly follow the laws of the universe, especially the laws of cause and effect, the process of life expressing images of the mind, and of the power of certainty and faith. Thinking creatively and non-competitively helps you be in agreement with these universal laws and processes. To you the earth yields her fruit, and you shall not want if you but know how to fill your hands. It is in exchanging these gifts of the earth that you shall find abundance and be satisfied. Yet unless the exchange be in love and kindly justice, it will lead some to greed and others to hunger. Khalil Gibran. Out of abundance he took abundance, and still abundance remains. Upanishads. All other things held constant, to the extent that an individual or society sees, believes in, and acts in abundance, so will they have wealth and happiness. Again, meditate. It is the fastest way for you to know experientially how abundant you are. These higher concepts cannot be explained and fully understood intellectually. They can only be experienced. They can be talked about using symbols such as words, but the full appreciation and knowing can only come from experience, and all you need to do is go within, meditate, and all the experience you need will be right there. One day, maybe on your first meditation, maybe later, it will definitely happen. This is what the Buddha called enlightenment, the realization of the One. Talking about happiness, what is it and how does it become you? There is no point to life if you have no joy, for life is joy, and joy is life. Let's get happy. Happiness. Life is joy, and joy is life. The essential nature of life is joy. Joy is what life is made up of, and vice versa. It is the natural state of all beings. Anything with life, and everything has life, has joy as its natural state. It is how we are born as children, with a natural ability to live life with carefree abandon and joy. You can recapture that nature and extend it. The same laws of the universe that apply to wealth also apply to happiness. You've already seen many of these laws in previous chapters. Apply them to happiness just as you applied them to wealth. This is especially so with the law of cause and effect. If you wish to be happy, cause another to be happy. Conditionality is also an illusion when it comes to happiness. You are not happy because of certain conditions, but certain conditions come into being because you are happy. Happy thoughts and images also result in happy external events and conditions. Remember, too, to act as if you are happy and be grateful for all, even before you experience it. And remember to practice detachment. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is that the external world fashions itself to your internal world. If you are not happy with the external world, seek what it is internally that you are not happy with, then choose to be happy about it. Love yourself and the world will love you. Be happy with yourself and the world will be happy about and with you. How do you do these things? You just do them. Now. Do not complicate this. It is simple. Make the decision right now to be happy with you and to love yourself. Happiness is a decision. Decide now to be of the state of happiness, and all else will follow. Happiness is a continuum of moments that are not resisted. If you resist a moment, you will not be happy with it. Also, what you resist persists. What you accept and bring into your light reveals itself and lets go of you. Unconditional love, acceptance, detachment, and tolerance, all these lead to happiness. Sadness and joy are different grades of the same thing. They just appear to be different things. Hot and cold are actually just graduations of the same thing called temperature. When you express yourself in your desires, you have joy. When you do not, you have sadness. Follow your desires. It has been said that happiness comes from you making things happen for you instead of you waiting for things to happen to and for you. Balance your body, mind, and soul.
Without a balance, you may become unhappy. Spend time doing things related to all these three aspects of you. For your body, take care of it. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Use it. Exercise it. Feed it well. Rest it, and so on. For your mind, continuously feed it with new knowledge. Exercise it. Think properly and deliberately. Rest it, and so on. For your spirit, learn about it. Exercise it. Meditate and get in contact with it, and so on. And for all three, listen to them and honor what they tell you and love them. Joy is your true nature. Another word for your soul is joy. Soul equals joy equals freedom equals soul. The lack of joy is the lack of expression of the soul. Protect and nurture the environment, nature. Whether it is in your immediate surroundings or around the world, do your part and do more. The health of your environment influences the health of yourself, which influences the joy of yourself. The beauty and comfort of your environment also influences your joy. The joy and harmony in all things that make up your environment influences your joy and harmony. It is all connected. Love, laughter, sharing, enthusiasm, optimism, and lightheartedness. These things make a person happy. Choose to be these things and you will be happy. Just make the choice to be these things from now on. Find the humor in everything. Everything has humor in it, even the most serious things. Try it. At first it may be hard to find humor, but soon it will become second nature after you get used to it, and it will liberate you. Happiness is not found in a circumstance or event. Each event is just that, an event. You choose to experience an event as a happy one or an unhappy one. When faced with an event, choose the response that will bring happiness. Happiness comes from creating instead of reacting. Happiness comes from truthful observation of what is within you and outside of you. It comes from being truthful to yourself and everything else outside of you. The truth literally sets you free. Choose to be happy. You are not your circumstances. That is a powerful illusion. Your circumstances are you. That is a truth. Try to understand this. When you change you, you change your circumstances. Choose to like yourself, to love yourself. Scream aloud several times, "I love myself," and do it convincingly. Just make the choice now. Do not complicate it. It is a simple choice. What if there is something about yourself that you do not like? Start liking it, and then change it. See, what you resist will never let go of you. If a person told you not to think of the color red, you will find yourself thinking of the color red. Whatever it is that you do not like about yourself, stop resisting it. Instead, accept it. Bring it into your light, love it, and look at it calmly with detachment. Smile with it and befriend it. It will then reveal its secrets to you and let go of you. But you must continuously choose to like yourself fully at all times. This means that you start thinking about the thoughts you have about yourself. Whenever you get a thought about yourself that is negative, end it instantly and go positive. Be deliberate in thought. You become what you think about most often. If you think unloving thoughts about yourself, you become an unloved person. Both you and other people will be unable to love you. It is very simple. Choose well, for it is all within your power to the extent that you choose clearly, consistently, and believingly. If you consistently think you are ugly, unwanted, unable to do this or that, it will be so. The universe will conspire to make the powerful thoughts that you have of yourself to become true. The conditions to make them true will arise. Change your mind and change your world. Choose well. Live now, here. Like Harry Potter was advised by his headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, in the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone movie, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Harry Potter found a magic mirror that showed, according to Dumbledore, the deepest and most desperate desires of our hearts, but not knowledge or truth. Dumbledore then cautioned Harry Potter against its use, for although it may have felt very comfortable for Harry to spend all day dreaming of his desires, doing so was not living. Living is what allows life to express itself, and with expression comes joy. It is okay to dream, but live life now, here, because the only place you can live life is now, here. Dumbledore then explained to Harry Potter that the happiest person was the one who looked into the magic mirror
and saw only him or herself exactly as they were now, here. Think about that. There is an old saying that says, "When you laugh, the world laughs with you, but when you cry alone." Stop crying and start laughing. Keep it simple. Have enthusiasm. Live with passion. How? Choose to do so. Just do it. Change your mind. Start seeing how good things really are, and you will have joy. Look at the light, and you will never see the darkness. Change your mind. Change what you think you see. You can be looking at the same thing and see a happy picture instead of an unhappy one. See the good in everything. See the magic. That is what happy people do. Joy is what happens to us when we allow ourselves to recognize how good things really are. Marianne Williamson. Cultivate your relationships with people. Happy people, statistically and quite obviously, have healthy and happy relationships with friends and family. Love is a powerful force. Be friendly and of unconditional love, and you will make friends and have many fantastic relationships. That said, you must always remember that you need nothing outside of yourself to be happy. Do not become a person that relies on others to be happy. That is an addiction and a falsehood, not to mention an unfair pressure placed on others that will only lead to eventual unhappiness. Love yourself, and recognize that your love for others must be unconditional and free. Then be friendly, and keep your freedom of choice. Any relationship where you lose your freedom of choice is an unhealthy one that leads to unhappiness. Stable, fair, free, and loving relationships on all levels lead to happiness. Think about this. You do not owe anybody anything at all, ever, for any reason. Everything you do for others is a gift to them, and vice versa. Once you understand this statement deeply, you understand unconditional love, one that requires nothing in particular from others, and one that is not pressured to give anything in particular to others. And all that exists are gifts given and accepted cheerfully and naturally. From love comes joy. What is love? Love is not a bond, it is a freedom, a liberator, not a binder. It is a free expressor, not a limiter. In the presence of true love, things flourish as they are, perfect. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Khalil Gibran. Do not spend any time at all thinking about how unhappy you are or how this, that, or the other makes you unhappy. Remember, you become what you think about most of the time. The less judgmental you are, the happier you become. The more forgiving you are, the happier you become. Cherish and nurture your freedom, and let others have theirs as well. Practice unconditional love for yourself and for others. Freedom and love, these are the keys to happiness. Do not cut your freedom short, nor cut another's. True and unconditional freedom and love are the flames that fuel creativity, trust, growth, and expression of spirit, hence joy. It is important to understand the nature of unconditional love and freedom. Love and freedom that comes full of conditions goes against the only constant in the universe, change. Every moment things change. Change is growth. Conditional love resists change. It is a love of an idea, not a person. It is the love of a past known moment and not a future unknown moment. It is full of fear that the conditions will one day not be met. That fear attracts the very thing that is being feared. This is evident all around our world today. Finally, yet importantly, conditional love and freedom takes away the power to choose happiness no matter what the event is. Happiness is a choice. People who understand this are able to face any situation with joy. Conditionality makes it harder for you to do this, to be happy. Start to understand and practice unconditional love and freedom. Start to enjoy watching others grow as they choose to grow, not as you choose them to grow. Start to enjoy the unknown moment of the future and stop clinging onto a past known moment. Start creating instead of reacting. End of Disc 5. Please continue this experience by inserting Disc 6. A Happy Pocketful of Money by David Cameron Gikandi. Read by John Wayne Myers. Disc 6. It is not how much you do, but how much love you put into the doing and sharing with others that is important. Try not to judge people. If you judge others, then you are not giving love. Mother Teresa. Give, give, and give. Giving is another powerful key to happiness. Give unconditionally whatever a person needs in the moment. The point is to do something, however small, and show you care through your actions by giving your time. Mother Teresa. You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. Khalil Gibran. One of the best ways to become wealthy and happy is by practicing meditation every day. Meditation puts you in touch with your higher self, and the teachings in this book become you, experientially, in every cell of your body. They no longer are theoretical constructs, for they become you. You no longer have to struggle to practice and remember them, for they are you. Start meditating, and one day soon you will have this happen to you. The recommended meditation technique here is Vipassana, mindfulness, insight, meditation. Spread your joy. Make others happy. It will come back to you sevenfold. Whatever it is that you wish others to recognize and see in you, recognize and see it in them. Compliment others every day. Find something to compliment. Do it genuinely. Consider this. In ultimate reality, there are no rights or wrongs, no shoulds or should-nots. There are no accidents or coincidences, or good or bad luck. All events are perfect outcomes of universal law that never fails or errs. It is our choices and goals that make a thing right or wrong, good or bad, in the pursuit of that goal or choice. For example, killing is a perfect outcome of universal law, and it is not, in itself, wrong. But if, as a society, we wish to promote peace, happiness, and prosperity, then killing is wrong. Our choices make a thing right or wrong. But on its own and without our choices, a thing is just a perfect outcome of universal law. Also consider this. Change is all there is. That includes what society considers acceptable or not. Even what looks like an acceptable form of behavior now was at some time in the past unacceptable, and will someday become unacceptable, and vice versa. Also, what is acceptable here may not be acceptable somewhere else, or at another time or place in the day. Think about this on a global, racial, sexual, economic status, and age scale. Then ask yourself why. Also consider this. To the extent that you make your own choices instead of taking the choices passed on to you by others, you will be happy, growing, and free. What is should? What is can? Why? Who are you? Why? Why? Think about these things. Think about them with detachment. Observe them truly. Within those answers you will find liberation, power, love, and happiness. The more you choose for yourself and what your life events are, based on your truths and not the truths of others, the happier you are. You learn to love by loving. You just do it. It is not complicated unless you complicate it. So do not complicate it. You need not wait a single moment to start being happy. How fantastic is that? Right now, right here, you can make that choice. You need nothing outside of yourself to be happy and wealthy. It is all inside. The outside simply responds to allow you to experience your internal state physically. The truth is, the happy get happier because they know how to be happy, and the troubled get more troubled because they pour all their life energy into their troubles. Susan Page. Remember the dangers of wanting. Never want happiness or anything else. A state of want is a perpetual state of never having and a declaration of not having. Instead of wanting, desire and intend with detachment. The more love you give away, the more of it you get in return. Your joy is your sorrow unmasked. When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find that it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth
You are weeping for that which has been your delight. Khalil Gibran. Do not complain, neither to yourself nor to others. What good does it do except highlight negativity and cause it? Smile. Just smile. Try it. It makes you happy. Smile because you know how life works, because you know the big secret. Real joy comes from within, from being. Pleasure and pain come from without, from the things outside of you. Joy never stops being joy. It is the nature of spirit, of being. It is not affected by external things. Once you are present in now and aware and in touch with yourself, the joy will be everywhere in you, and it shall never stop. It never had stopped and never can stop anyway, but you can be blind to it by not being here, now, fully present. Joy is an eternal state, in now. It is not in the past or future, for those are times that do not exist except only in the mind. Pleasure and pain, on the other hand, are external. They are also complementary. The same thing that gives you pleasure gives you pain. Think about it. Whatever external thing gives you pleasure, when it is not there, you feel pain. You feel the pain of not having it. The same thing gives you pleasure and pain. Or the thing that gives you pain, when it is not there, you feel pleasure. The same thing gives you both. All external things do this, and that is why people are often feeling unsatisfied. However, once you touch yourself and live now, real joy comes to the surface, and that can never change the pain. From that point on, everything will become enjoyable. Even the most painful things will cease to bring suffering to you, and you will marvel at all life. Joy is being, and being is isness. Now, from that point on, you shall be happy with all being, resisting no present moment, but creating your next moments in a powerful way through true choice. Resisting isness is futile. Resisting now is painful. What do you expect to gain out of resisting what is? You cannot undo it, so why bother? Yet when you touch yourself and feel joy, you shall not need any intellectual conviction to stop resisting now. You shall just naturally love all being. Why does the same thing give you both pain and pleasure? It is because of the mind living outside the moment of now. For example, if you like a certain thing that gives you pleasure, when you have that thing, you enjoy it, unless you worry about losing it. When you do not have it and you let your mind escape now and go into the past and future thinking, it was great when I had that thing and I really wish I had it now. I look forward to when I will next have it. I do not like not having it now. You start getting into problems. When you think like that, you totally miss the joy of now, what is, and the gap between now, isness, and a past and future that only exists in the mind is the cause of pain, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Joy is always in the moment of now. It is ever present, but you can choose not to see it. When you are out of mind, of no mind, you are being now, in harmony with all else that is now. In that state, you are in the best position to enjoy now and also create the next now in the most powerful way, free of worry, anxiety, and negativity. The mind is a tool, and you should activate it to create an intention of the next now. This very quick and detached thinking should not take any more than a few seconds every now and then. If you use your mind to constantly ramble on inside your head thinking about the past and future, all you do is live in the past, worry about the future, and lose now and joy. And anyway, that is no good formula for creating a future. All problems exist only in the mind. They cannot exist in now. In now, you always pass. You cannot fail now. Not 2 seconds from now or 5 hours from now, but right now. All problems exist outside of now, in the mind, when you use the mind incorrectly. All other things held constant. To the extent that an individual or society loves unconditionally, causes each other happiness, and lives now, so will they have wealth and happiness. Remember, life is a celebration, and joy makes for celebration. Joy is spirit being expressed in the ways it likes to and desires to. Express your spirit and let others express theirs. Well, we started with money, went on to larger things, and now we shall go back to money. Money is not the real thing. It is only a symbol of the real wealth inside us.
We have so far been looking at what makes up the real thing. Even though money is not the real thing, we still need to know how to use this money. It is a full circle, a full cycle. For money is the end of many other things that make up wealth consciousness, but it is the beginning of the experiencing of wealth consciousness as material wealth. Money is a symbol of wealth and the beginning of the experiencing of wealth, so that we may know how wealth tastes like experientially. Money has two uses. One is to allow us to exchange our gifts. The other is to allow us to experience wealth. Through this experience, we are able to increase our wealth consciousness and love it even more. Wealth consciousness begets wealth and money, which begets wealth consciousness, and the cycle goes on. It is a full circle, a full cycle. So, we go back to money. Money. How to use the symbol. This is worth repeating, for repetition causes internalization. Money is not the real thing. It is only a symbol of the real wealth inside us. We have so far been looking at what makes up the real thing. Even though money is not the real thing, we still need to know how to use this money. It is a full circle, a full cycle. For money is the end of many other things that make up wealth consciousness, but it is the beginning of the experiencing of wealth consciousness as material wealth. Money is a symbol of wealth and the beginning of the experiencing of wealth, so that we may know how wealth tastes like experientially. Money has two primary uses. One is to allow us to exchange our gifts. The other is to allow us to experience wealth. Through this experience, we are able to increase our wealth consciousness and love it even more. Wealth consciousness begets wealth and money, which begets wealth consciousness, and the cycle goes on. It is a full circle, a full cycle. Let us spend some time on money. Do not be ashamed of money. Do not act as if you are ashamed of it. Hiding money, handling it as if it were dirty, being dishonest with money, and other similar attitudes and acts are all detrimental to you if you wish to acquire wealth. This is not a call for you to start bragging. It is a call for you to be honest in all ways with your money. Be honest to the money and about the money. Things that lead to dishonesty with and about money, or things that stem from it, eventually damage your wealth. I love money, and money loves me. Scream this enthusiastically, repeatedly every now and then, until all feelings of ridicule and guilt and fear of money eventually leave you. As you become wealthier materially, it may be in your best interests, depending on where you live, to have offshore specialists look into your affairs and structure them for maximum safety and benefits. Vehicles such as trusts and holding companies in offshore jurisdictions have enabled wealthy people to have peace and continued prosperity for generations. Remember that presently we do need governments, and we must pay our fair part to keep them running. It is to our advantage to have government, but government was created to serve its people fairly, and when it ceases to act in such a way, then it becomes your biggest hindrance and stressor. And because government is run by human beings capable of error, government can sometimes oppress instead of enhance. They can sometimes waste instead of create. They can sometimes make legal laws that are unfair and unjust, even if it is only to a proportion of a population. That is why it is to your advantage to structure your affairs very early on in such a way that you are both within and outside of government control, instead of remaining totally within government's control. That freedom is sometimes the key to growing wealth. Sometimes it can even save you from losing your wealth. This call to look offshore is not a call to greed and anarchy. It is a call for freedom and fairness. For if you cannot guarantee that your government will be fair at all times to you, you should then guarantee that you can step aside or outside safely in the event that it is not. There is no point in taking an unnecessary and lethal blow to your finances in the name of patriotism. Options enable choice. Without options, you cannot choose. Always ensure that you have options in everything. In regards to wealth and many other matters, the options you should seek to guarantee are the option to travel at will when you need to live in a place where you are happy and safe, and to handle your finances in a way that best suits you and your society in your fair judgment. The way to guarantee those freedoms, those options, is to have 2 legal passports from 2 separate countries, legal residency capability in 2 countries with unrelated jurisdiction, and offshore bank accounts in offshore holding or processing companies. Asset and income protection arrangements are much like insurance, by the way. You do not insure your house against fire after it burns down. You do it before the fire, in case a fire ever comes your way. But never forget you have an interest in paying something fair in taxes to keep your government healthy. Even if you find yourself in a position whereby you can escape all taxes, it is a good idea to voluntarily pay about 10% of your income in taxes. Pay your fair share of tax cheerfully, for it keeps the society alive and functioning in order. It is up to you to determine what fair is. Over the ages, sages and teachers have taught that 10% is a fair amount. Even religious texts have recommended similar 10% arrangements. Mathematically, 10% is also optimal for all involved. Of your income, devise ways to ensure that you pay about 10% of it in taxes, that you give about 10% to charity, you invest 10% in long-term growth and wealth-building investments, and you use the remaining 70% to live, grow, and enjoy life. The added bonus to you using your money to enjoy life is that as you spend money on things, you make others wealthier. As you get immensely richer, you may live on a lower percentage of your income, then give and invest more. These ratios were designed over the ages to give you and your world the best growth and wealth possibilities for all. Keep accurate personal and business accounts. Know what happens to your money and where it goes and comes from. Knowing is the first step to mastery of anything, and not knowing where your money goes is crippling. If your cash out exceeds your cash in, your upkeep, staying alive, will be your downfall. You cannot plan and analyze what you do not know. Be careful, however, about managing your finances. This is not a call to stringent cent counting and misery. Do not let your keeping of accurate financial records turn you into a miser, a person who believes that money is in short supply. Keeping accounts is just that, keeping accounts. Surround yourself with very wise advisors, associates, and employees. The wise person keeps wiser counsel. Have wise counsel in all fields: business, accounting, tax, law, trusts, investments, etc. Pay them well, pay them on performance, and give them bonuses when they deserve it. Remember, wealth usually flows to those with right knowledge, but the person who gets that wealth does not necessarily have to be the possessor of the knowledge. The wealthy person is often the one who brings together teams of knowledgeable people, even though he or she may not possess the knowledge personally. Learn to multiply your efforts. One of the best ways to do that is to delegate massively. Delegate almost everything. Every person has certain unique capabilities, but they also share many other things with everybody else. For example, Einstein's special gift was in physics. That is where he varied most with the rest of us. But on all other things, that variance was very low. He walked, wrote, saw, cleaned the house, and did other chores just a little better or a little worse than we all do. Now, if in a day Einstein insisted on doing absolutely everything in his business, from thinking about physics to drawing charts that anyone else could have drawn, to sweeping his floor, and all that, he would have ended up with far less time to spend on his unique talents, and therefore have realized less from them. A person's unique talents are what make the person and the world wealthy. Wealthy people usually look at themselves honestly and see what it is that they enjoy and what it is that they are a whole lot better at than most other people. This is an honest look. What they are best at may be strategy, marketing, innovation, horticulture, flying, driving, or anything else. They may also be good at a whole lot of other things, maybe even slightly better than most people, but that is beside the point. The point is what it is that they are fabulous at. Not just good at, but fabulous. That is the question. The only other question is, what is it that they really enjoy and cannot stop doing? They do not say, I can clean the floor better than my cleaner, for even if it is true, it is self-defeating. All that matters is what they are better at, by far, than anyone else, and what they enjoy. Then they do only that thing, and they delegate everything else. They do not worry that people will not do the rest as good as they would have. Imagine if Bill Gates tried to do everything at Microsoft. What good would that do him or the rest of us? A person such as Bill Gates is focused on what he or she does best and what he or she enjoys best. People like that delegate all the rest, even if they can do some of the rest better than their helpers can or employees can. In addition to that, people like that recognize that there are many things that other people are a lot better at doing than they themselves are. Delegation multiplies effort and results. Put it in your thinking and your goals to delegate almost everything in your business except for the one thing you're exceptionally good at and what you most enjoy, even if it is just dreaming up new ideas. To the extent that you delegate to the right people, so shall you become more productive and hence wealthier. Increase the rate at which you get ideas. Read books and magazines every day for a few minutes each day at least. Learn to read faster. The more new ideas you get, the better. Get a speed reading course or book. To find good books, use Amazon.com's users rating system to see what readers like you have found useful in their lives. Read magazines in all areas of life. Get a broad picture of the world. The best thing about magazines is their images. They feed your imagination and your goals. Another way to look at the making of money is viewing it as a change of thought causing a shift in the way energy in the universe is exchanged. This is not so that you may start living like this, but just so that you may see that simply changing your thought causes a rearranging of the energy in the universe and leads to increased wealth. Let us see how that works historically. Thousands of years ago, people were hunters and gatherers. This was a dangerous and unpredictable way to live. The desire to have more stability and safety caused human beings to think, why do I have to chase after these goats in the wild every day? That led to the idea that goats could be kept at home, domesticated. Now, instead of chasing after the goat every day across the grass plains, man brought the goats together in an enclosure and fed them the same grass from the plains. Even before this new idea, there was always an availability of grass, land, and goats, but no one had thought of changing their arrangement, of domesticating the goats. The idea simply changed the way they exchanged each other, the way the different forms of energy was exchanged. A desire for a better life caused a thought that caused betterment in the standard of living, using the same material that was always there. A change of thought pattern caused this. Next, the human beings desired to reduce their hardships further by acquiring items they needed but did not have. They first did this by going to war with tribes that had these items. Then they desired a much safer way to acquire these items, which led to the idea that they could trade. Again, they improved their lives simply by rearranging their thoughts, causing a change in the way energy in various forms was exchanged. Trade went along fine, the only problem being the long distances it took a person to carry a goat to exchange it with a bag of wheat in the next village. The desire to exchange faster and more efficiently led to the idea that instead of everyone walking all over the place, they can instead meet at one central spot and show all their goods and trade. A market was formed. Again, look at it closely. All the ingredients had always ever existed, but the idea that it could be done had not. The desire for better caused the idea that caused a shift in the way energy forms were exchanged. Remember the law that says energy is neither created nor destroyed, it only changes form. A market did not drop from the heavens on these people. They simply changed their thought pattern, and it was done. Today, the desire to trade even faster has caused us to have currency markets and stock exchanges. Imagine the time when a trader had to walk for half a day to the market, sell one cow, then walk back half a day home. Next came trucks, and farmers could drive several cows to the market and be back home early enough to do another trip. Then came futures and option exchanges, which enabled people to buy and sell thousands of livestock futures and options in seconds without having to get up or move a single cow. Yet nothing dropped from the heavens. It was all right here. People just desired different, and that desire took an infinite coordination of dozens of seemingly unrelated events to end up with a high-tech futures and options market and the zero need to move the cow at the time of trade. The sequencing of everything to end up with a result that enabled faster trade and profiting was unpredictable. But because the desire was there, nature fulfilled. But let us go back to the past. The agrarian revolution came along, and people, from their desire for more wealth, ended up with ways to improve farming. Again, they simply desired, and that desire led to thought, and what had always been there was rearranged. Nothing dropped from the heavens. But even then, it would take a king 3 generations to build a good-sized home and a fair collection of possessions. The average person did not even think it was possible for them to live in a multi-room brick home with certain amenities. That was for kings and queens. Today, life is different. We are born assuming from observation that a house is something that we shall automatically always live in, and that we shall automatically have clothes and certain other things that were reserved for royalty back then. It does not even cross your mind for a moment that you can lack certain things, yet people in the past struggled for generations to get those same things. We have the certainty that they did not have. The point here is to see the powerful effects of certainty on an individual level and on a wider scale. Certainty of thought causes massive shifts in the way energy is rearranged. A massive upshift in certainty of thought and in desire for better always leads to a massive shift in the way energy is rearranged for a better life. Take, for example, the emergence of the IT boom. You had Bill Gates and hundreds of other young people making massive amounts of wealth in very short periods. People would become billionaires in a few years instead of 4 generations as it used to take. And as fresh kids out of college watched this happen, they believed they could do it. And many of them believed. And a whole range of new businesses was formed in no time at all. Young people in their 20s were becoming millionaires by the dozens every day. Yet nothing new dropped from the heavens in those few years. All it took was massive desire, belief, and change of thought. Then the energy that was always there in various forms was rearranged into a whole bunch of new forms that led to wealth. And just as millions of people today live better than a few kings lived in the past, the very near future will have billions of average people living better than millionaires live today. And nothing new will be dropped from the heavens. We will simply desire better, have certainty on a higher level because we are now beginning to understand how it all works, and we will change our thoughts in the right way, and it will just happen in unpredictable and powerful ways. All that needs to exist is right here, and we have it all. The energy packets that make up everything around us, including our bodies, have an unlimited capability to take unlimited and unimaginable forms as long as the desire is there. They have their own intelligence, and they obey our desires with skill that we cannot imagine. If you analyze any substance at all, from light to thought to metal to flesh, it is all made up of energy packets that collect into atoms, cells, and so on. But the amazing thing about these energy packets is that, unlike the forms that they build up, they are not confined in time and space. In other words, they can move from point A to B without crossing the space in between, and they are not confined within the object that they make up. In other words, the energy packets making up your finger right now are not the same ones that will make it up in a few seconds. They can flash up in your finger and then flash up in another person's belly a moment later, or in your light bulb in the house. You do not have your own bunch of energy packets, so to speak. In fact, they're not really particles in the sense that you think of particles. You are forever sharing these packets with everyone and everything else at all times, and they can travel forwards and backwards in time. This is what we and all matter are all made up of, energy packets flashing in specific patterns to form the appearance of shapes. The information that dictates these specific patterns is partially made up of our thoughts and partially the thoughts of the rest of the universe. That is why medicine is now discovering that our thoughts are very much linked to our state of health. And science is discovering that nothing being observed can be observed independently of the observer, because the observer's expectations and thoughts influence the object under observation. Money is absolutely linked to our thoughts, desires, and certainty, and history and science can prove that to you now. It is in your best interest to improve your own wealth consciousness and that of the world. Your becoming wealthy makes the world wealthy, and the world becoming wealthy makes you wealthy with a whole lot less effort. Look at history to prove this. A major key to building wealth is in making your money work for you, instead of you working for your money. If you work for 5 days in a week and spend all your income without investing any of it, you will have forever lost those 5 days of work. Forever. Wealthy people take a portion of the income from each day and put it into investments that grow on their own, automatically, and without any further work over a long-term period. That way, a portion of each day that you work for money ends up working back for you for many years to come. That is a major key to wealth, getting a percentage of your income every day to work back for you without your intervention. You do this by taking at least 10% of your daily income before taxes and bills and putting that into long-term investment for a minimum of about 3 years. Good investments include stocks, mutual funds, certain types of bank accounts that have high and above inflation interest rates, real estate investment vehicles, bonds, royalty-producing assets, self-maintaining businesses, and so on. These investments do not require you to work for your money. You simply invest, walk away, and your money grows all on its own. Even $1 can turn into $1 million in a certain amount of years at a certain compound interest rate. $1, just $1, can grow into $1 million all on its own without your intervention. You would be pleasantly surprised to know that a single dollar placed into an investment that grows at 20% a year will become $1 million in 75 years. That is just $1. All you would need to do is leave it alone, go away, go to sleep for 75 years, just leave it alone. When you return, it will be $1 million without any effort from you, other than you're placing that single dollar in at the beginning. Now, if instead you put in $1 every single day into the same 20% a year growth investment, you would end up with $1 million in 32 years instead of 75. In fact, $1 a day would become $1 billion in 66 years. A higher interest rate would dramatically shorten that time. This shows that you can never have too little to start with. Whatever your income today, force yourself into the habit of investing 10% of your income before you pay bills or taxes or anything else. Pay yourself first. It is your money and your life. And it gets even better. The 1990s was an era where stocks rose phenomenally. In the 1990s decade, over 200 stocks rose by 1,000%, some by up to 20,000%. Many fell again in 2001, but on the long term, all good companies always rebound to even higher heights. People in the 90s invested various amounts and found themselves wealthier for that. Some invested just $50 a week, and if that was their 10%, that was good enough. It grew. Others invested more. $10,000 invested just once at the beginning of the 90s in certain stocks turned out to be valued at around $5 million by the end of the 90s. Others turned a few million dollars into well over $1 billion in the same period. All this wealth growth happened without any extra effort except putting money away into the investment. These people were not doing anything secret. They were investing in publicly available investments. They were investing in well-selected shares in the stock market, and anyone can do this. You can do it as well starting now. Just remember, choose your investments well, invest consistently, and put 10% aside from every single paycheck or income. Consistency is the key. Compound interest will always work for you without asking anything from you. Your only part is to be consistent, to choose good investments, and to stay put on the long term. Short-term investment usually does not earn as much as long-term investing, and it is usually a lot riskier. Taxes and the government. We need a government, that is for sure. Without governments, society would not be able, at our present stage, to organize infrastructure development, security, and so on. But there is such a thing as wasteful government or too much government. Just because it is a government does not mean it is always right, that it sets the right amount of taxes we should pay, and that it uses the money wisely without waste. So what is in our best interest, you and I, is to figure out how much we need to pay in tax. We need to keep government alive and healthy and serving us well without paying too much to a point that we don't have enough to invest and enjoy life, while government has too much and wastes it on activities such as building weapons of mass destruction and the like. Governments across the world have tax rates ranging from 0 to 80% or so. Taxes are usually the person's biggest single expenditure. Within each country, you can arrange your affairs in ways that legally minimize your tax amount with the help of professional tax advisors. Winston Churchill once said that no person has the legal or moral obligation to arrange his or her affairs so that the government can put its biggest shovel in. I personally believe that the magic formula is 10, 10, 10, 70. That is 10% of your incomes in taxes, 10% in charity, 10% in long-term investments, and 70% for your enjoyment and spending. For that is what life is all about, enjoying your life, not struggling with it. Spending any less than 10% on government would kill it, and more than that gives it too much money, and it is because of this excess that we have, for example, too many deadly nuclear weapons that never really helped us. Military expenditure is the biggest total government expenditure worldwide. Yet military expenditure does not circulate in the economy or benefit us as much as other expenditure. A nuclear missile built and never fired is dead money. It just stays in a silo waiting to be fired. Yet the day it is fired, it causes even more destruction. Weapons just put us in a state of fear either way you look at it. The way to prevent war is not to build weapons, but to eliminate borders, division, and economic differences. The U.S. would have been far weaker and less stable today if it did not unite its states a couple of hundred years ago. Before becoming a federation of states, the U.S. had civil wars and travel and commerce barriers within itself. So that is 10% of your money going to government as taxes. After that, do not forget to spend at least another 10% on charity, doing things to uplift your society and hence yourself. And invest at least 10% in good long-term investments. Then enjoy and spend the rest. Be cheerful in your spending. Your spending causes the increased income of others and drives the economy. Imagine what would happen if everyone stopped spending. The more we spend, the more energy is exchanged, and the more we all get wealthy. At first, this new 10-10-10-70 arrangement may be a little difficult for some people to execute because they are spending all or almost all their money at the moment and have not arranged their affairs for optimal taxation. But within a short time, it is easy to change habits to fit into this new format. Knowing the real difference between an asset and a liability is another key to wealth. An asset is anything that creates net wealth or income for you. An asset is anything that puts more money into your pocket than it took out from it. A liability is something that does not do that. A liability is anything that takes money away from your pocket without putting back into your pocket more than it took. By that definition, some of the items that people consider as assets are really liabilities. Homes on mortgage are liabilities. They are the bank's asset. Cars are liabilities. They take more from you in cash than they give back. Wealthy people obviously have more assets than liabilities. That is just obvious. Can you imagine being wealthy when your true liabilities are more than your true assets? The assets grow the wealth for wealthy people. Analyze your life and reclassify everything in it as an asset or liability as we have defined them. Always maintain more assets than liabilities. Otherwise, you will have zero or negative wealth, debts. It is a simple formula. There is nothing wrong with buying liabilities. Indeed, many of life's most enjoyable things, such as beautiful homes and boats and cars, are, by our new definition, liabilities. But they make life enjoyable. So go ahead and enjoy, but never let your liabilities, as we have defined them, exceed your assets, as we have defined them. Otherwise, you will soon end up in negative wealth. Always maintain that positive balance. If you wish to have that nice home, the way to get it is to first work on having an asset that produces an income that is high enough to finance your mortgage. Then use it to pay for your house payments. So get assets first and use them to finance liabilities. By the way, you do not count yourself as an asset. Getting a job to earn money to pay your mortgage is not the way. That is called working for your money, and it is an often unhealthy and dangerously trapping cycle to get into. Your money should always work for you. The money you earn with your mind and hands on your job or work is to be used to acquire investments and assets. These assets and investments then generate income on their own without much further intervention from you to buy the liabilities for you. You do not work for your liabilities. You work for your assets, and your assets work for your liabilities. If at present you do not know how to do that, then get books and advisors who can show you how to do that in your situation. Good assets to acquire or build include stocks, mutual funds, certain types of bank accounts that have high and above inflation interest rates, real estate investment vehicles, bonds, royalty-producing assets, self-maintaining businesses, and so on. Whatever you seek to know, a very good book or person exists that will give you this knowledge. For books, Amazon.com is a great starting point for your search. For other information, a search on Google.com usually gives you what you are after. In this day and age, we lack nothing. In truth, we never did. We just made up the shortages ourselves. Live a luxurious life. Remember, life is images of the mind expressed. Keep improving yourself and your environment and surroundings with luxury and beautiful nature. It is from what is around you that many of your mental images are formed, and you therefore should have a good source of mental imagery. Luxury and a healthy environment and nature breed more wealth by breeding higher images of the mind. Live in as much luxury as you feel comfortable and happy with. Take care of Mother Nature, the goose that lays the golden eggs. Do not pollute or destroy the environment fast or slowly. That is killing the same source that enables you to be. Remember the law of cause and effect, the law that never fails. People think that they can destroy the environment, usually for self-profit, and get away with it because it is future generations that will be affected. The law of cause and effect never fails. As surely as you breathe, you reap what you sow, positive or negative. The only thing we do not know is how, where, and when. Sow good seeds, and you will reap good harvest. Money is value energy that, like all energy, lives to flow and needs to flow to stay alive. Help it flow cheerfully, and it will be attracted to you. Give the services that others need. Increase their value. We are here to serve each other, to act as growth enablers for each other. Do this in your own capacity, and money automatically will flow in. Say to yourself and believe it, money loves me and I love money. This will be true for you to the extent that you can say this comfortably and with joy, without feelings of guilt. If you find yourself guilty, find the reason why and ask yourself how true that reason is and where you got that reason. To the extent that you are comfortable with money and you are welcome and love it, so shall you be wealthy. Money is an energy that allows freedom and loves freedom. It goes where there is freedom and where it is given freedom. Misers and stingy people, although they try the hardest to keep money, make it hardest for them to acquire and keep money. Enjoy money. Quantum physics. Knowing what you and the world are made of is the first key to knowing how to make it your way. You may be wondering what quantum physics has to do with wealth and happiness. Well, you had better believe that it has everything to do with it. How can you build a house if you do not know what a house is made of and how it is constructed? Quantum physics begins to explain how everything in your world comes to be. You are in direct manipulation of your entire physical world, but you may not be aware of this fact. And your lack of awareness of this fact, how the physical matter comes about and your role in it, makes your life appear to you as an occurrence that is out of your control. It may appear to you as if you are the victim of circumstances, while all along you are the cause of those circumstances, including your experiencing of wealth or lack of it. Quantum physics is the first step in an amazing awakening that you are about to undergo. Not only will you understand the very construction of all that you see around you, you will also understand exactly how your belief and thinking creates matter, how you reap what you sow, how even before you ask it has been given unto you, and so on. It is science finally catching up with spirituality and common sense and explaining it. Think about it. When somebody tells you that anything is possible, if only you believe, aren't you more likely to believe that when you know how, step by step and scientifically, your belief shifts the universe and produces what you believe in? One of the benefits of understanding the very basics of quantum physics, and the basics is all you need to understand, is that you finally see clearly how powerful concepts such as faith and right thinking work, among other things. This seeing and understanding, this knowing, enables you to have full confidence, eliminate doubt, create your reality consciously, powerfully, and beautifully, and in many ways become more powerful. Quantum physics also shows you how we are all connected, how we are all one being that perpetuates an illusion of separate individual beings. It also gives you a glimpse into how spirit and matter interact and connect, how mind and matter do so as well, how creation actually happens, and how we are co-creators with God. By the end of this chapter and the next 4 chapters, you will be amazed at how much power you have, how amazing this universe is, and how easy it is to create any outcome you choose. But first, what is quantum physics? Quantum physics is a study of the building blocks of the universe. For example, your body is made up of cells. These cells are in turn made up of molecules, which are made up of atoms, which are in turn are made up of subatomic particles such as electrons. This is the world of quantum physics. Everything is made up of large groups of subatomic particles. Your body, a tree, thoughts, a vehicle, a planet, light, and everything else are concentrations of energy. All of them are large collections
of pretty much the same types of subatomic particles. The only difference is in the way these particles are grouped together into ever larger building blocks. Knowing how they work is a key to knowing how to recreate yourself and your world around you. To speak correctly, a subatomic particle is not really a particle in the way that a grain of sand is a particle. While atomic and larger particles are objects or things, subatomic particles are not objects as such. They are probabilities of existence, and at the same time, multiple existences. They are also wave-like and particle-like at the same time. You will soon see what all this means by the end of this chapter. Quantum physics asks the question, what are these subatomic particles, and how do they act? Well, the subatomic particles are energy packets, sometimes called quanta. Everything in this universe is made up of energy, and these energy packets behave in the most amazing way. They are at our command. The reason they would arrange themselves into a luxury boat, for example, is our individual and collective thoughts. Do you now start to see the link between wealth and quantum physics? Up until this point, you may have been designing your world haphazardly and unconsciously. Now you will awaken and do it deliberately and consciously with direction. Let's begin our journey into the quantum field. What is your body made of? Tissues and organs. What are tissues and organs made of? Cells. What are cells made of? Molecules. What are molecules made of? Atoms. What are atoms made of? Subatomic particles. What are subatomic particles made of? Energy. No, they are not made of energy, they are energy. You are one big chunk of energy, and so is everything else. Spirit and mind puts together this energy into the physical shape you are used to seeing. Quantum physics tells us that it is the act of observing an object that causes it to be there where and how we observe it. Energy is the subatomic particles that in turn make up atoms and finally matter. This energy exists as waves spread out over space and time. Only when you exercise observation do these waves become particles localized as a space-time event, a particle at a particular time and place. As soon as you withdraw observation, they become a wave again. So as you see, your observation, your attention to something, and your intention literally creates that thing as a space-time event. This is scientific. In other chapters, we shall see how to focus, concentrate, and guard your attention, intention, and thought to create your reality exactly. No solid object is solid. It is made up of rapidly flashing packets of energy, billions and trillions of packets of energy. They flash in and flash out of that space where the object is. They do not just stay there. So why does a human body or a car look like a solid continuous object when we now know that it is actually a rapidly flashing field of energy? Think of a TV image. When you watch a movie, you see a person walk across the screen smoothly, yet in reality it is just a film reel with 24 slightly different frames a second, so your eyes do not detect the gap between the frames. Even each of those frames is a composition of billions of light photons flashing at the speed of light. That is what your world is, a rapid flash that causes an illusion of being solid and continuous. Once you understand what your world is really, truly, you start to understand its true behavior and nature. You then change your view of it, and with your changed perception, you change your creation of it. This is the first step to wealth. Every single physicist agrees on one thing: subatomic particles. Those energy packets, or quanta, are not particles in a particular point in space and time like a table or a chair is, but they are a probability that they can exist at various points in space and time. The act of us observing them converts them into a physical particle at a particular point in space and time, and once we withdraw that attention, they become a probability again. Imagine that the chair in your living room is one big subatomic particle. This is how it would act. When you are not in the house and not thinking of your chair, it would vanish and become a probability that can reappear anywhere in your living room or anywhere else in the universe, actually. When you come back home and you think of sitting on a chair in a particular spot in your living room, and you look for a chair at that spot where you wish to sit, it will magically reappear. This is not some fantasy magical story. Subatomic particles behave just like that.
The amazing thing is that all matter is composed purely of massive amounts of these particles. Therefore, all matter acts exactly like a large group of subatomic particles would. A chair's being there is a result of us all watching it being there and deciding it to be there. It is not a wholly independent existence. No matter is a wholly independent existence, independent of the observer. As some scientists say, if everyone and everything in the universe stopped looking at the moon and thinking about it, it would not be a physical moon anymore. It would be a probability of existence. The act of observation makes the probability become a definite thing, and all other probabilities of it being elsewhere in the same world a null existence. Continuous attention keeps it that way, producing the illusion of a solid, continuous existence of a physical moon. Physicists have also discovered that quantum particles make decisions. They are powered by intelligence. Not only that, they also know instantly what decisions are being made by other particles anywhere else in the universe. This synchronicity across space and time is instantaneous. They communicate without taking any time or crossing any space. In fact, they also move instantaneous without having to go across space or take time. They can get from point A to B without having to cross the space in between, and point A and B can be in different times. Remember that quantum particles are not particles as you would normally think of a particle. They are not things that are at a particular place and time. They are spread across space and time. So, what is the intelligence that powers them? Well, it is from the mind of the source, God, all that is, proportionately made up of your own individual mind and also the individual minds of the rest of the universe, depending on the subject matter, scope, and strength of will. Think about all this carefully. Think about the fact that everything your eye can see is made up of these amazing particles, which are under your co-control. Think about the scientific facts that now prove that you are at cause or co-cause for everything around you, and that nothing you observe can exist without your observation. All you need to do is choose what you wish to observe, choose it with certainty and consistency, and this will cause the energy field to materialize into that thing over time, depending on your clarity, focus, and certainty. Scientists have discovered that even in the strictest double-blind experiments, their expectations still influence results, and it is impossible to carry out an experiment where there is zero influence from the observer on the results of the experiment. Quantum packets or particles are best defined as probabilities of existence. For example, say you have a quantum packet called Mr. X. Before you ask to speak to Mr. X, he will not exist as a person. He will exist as a potential person. Mr. X will be all over the world at the same time with varying potentials to appear in person in Moscow, New York, Kabul, Tokyo, Sydney, Cape Town, or any other town in the world. Now when you call his name, he will appear where you called him, and at that point the probability of him appearing in any other city will become zero. Then, when you finish your conversation with him, he will vanish again and stop being a localized person, become spread out like a wave, and the probability of appearing anywhere in the world again takes place. That is how a quantum packet called Mr. X would behave. Keep in mind that everything in this universe is made up of quantum packets. Another property of quanta is that they are multidimensional. So in the example of Mr. X above, when Mr. X is a probability, he is multidimensional. When he localizes when we call him, he will become a thing in our four-dimensional world. Our world as we know it is actually four-dimensional, with length, width, height, and time being the dimensions. This is scientific. You now see scientifically that our universe is multidimensional. Although our senses are capable of detecting length, width, height, and time as the only dimensions, yet our souls are also multidimensional. Listen to your soul, your feelings. The physical world is literally made up of ideas and energy. If you ever feel powerless, consider this. Einstein and the other quantum scientists have proven that all physical matter is made up of energy packets that are not bound by space and time. This energy field has no well-defined boundaries. The universe is literally your extended, timeless, and unbound body. Science has also proven that the mind has no boundaries. All minds are connected into one mind field.
You are bigger and more powerful than you think you are. So stop sweating the small stuff. You already have it all. It has been said that before you ask, it was already given to you. Science is beginning to prove, through quantum physics, that this is scientifically true. The infinite intelligence and potentiality at the quantum level, the level that makes up all that is around us, and our inherent abilities to influence this field is what gives us the having it all. We are beginning to know this on a larger scale, scientifically as well as spiritually. You already have all the riches beyond your wildest dreams. You have it. You may not be experiencing it right now, but you have it. Having and experiencing are two different things. An easy way to explain it is that you have the ability to fly a plane or surf a wave or go scuba diving, but you may not have experienced this aspect of your ability.
In our lives, we really are simply shifting our consciousness to experience aspects of ourselves that we already had in a universe that has all that we can possibly wish to have, even that which we have not imagined exists. The quantum field can form an infinite number of shapes and experiences out of it. In fact, it has already done that. The CD, or MP3 file, that you are listening to is just one of those things. The words that you are hearing is just one of those things. The next thought that you will have is yet another of those things. Yet you never predicted you would be experiencing these words. But your desire to find such words has caused them to come into your experience. Indeed, they have always existed. You need not predict exactly how things will work out. All you need to do is desire, intend, and know it's possible, and it will be arranged to come to you. Many physicists working on subatomic particles are coming to discover several interesting things about our universe. They have, for example, found out that two particles separated by space and time can be invisibly linked to each other and act in synchronicity. They have also found out that the world we live in appears to have been constructed so that it knows itself. This appears to have been done by cutting the one whole into at least two states, with one state designed to see and one to be seen. The one designed to see is then under the illusion of separation from that which is designed to be seen. It is a necessary illusion, a persistent one, but everything is actually one. The whole universe is brought into being by the participation or observation of those who participate and observe. Wealth is brought into existence by you and us looking at it. Your certainty of it, faith, and your attention of it creates it. In reality, it already exists as a probability wave, but you now cause it to be a definite thing, an event in a point in space and time. It goes even deeper than that. It already exists as an event, but your perception of time makes it look away and separate. Once you understand what time is and how it works, you will be able to bring it into your experience faster and in larger amounts. Now let us get a little more complicated. We have seen that subatomic particles exist as probabilities, and when we observe, we cause localization in a particular point in space and time. In other words, a particle has the potential of being in place A, B, C, and D. When we observe place C, it appears in place C and ceases to have the possibility of it appearing in places A, B, and D until we stop observing place C. Well, a new school of thought is studying the Everett-Wheeler-Graham theory that says that this quanta will actually localize in all the 4 points, but in different worlds that coexist with ours. In other words, all possibilities actually manifest into the physical, but in different parallel worlds. There is supporting evidence of this from physicists who are studying signs that the universe is a giant multidimensional hologram. How does this work? Well, when a particle has a probability to be in places A, B, C, and D, it will not choose just one place to be in. It will choose all 4. But for this to be possible, the universe splits into 4, each one of them unaware of the other 3. This is called the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. It sounds crazy, but think about it. It is definitely possible. Nothing is impossible for the source, God. Many religions tell us that even before we ask, it is given unto us. We are also told that everything that can possibly exist exists now.
We also now know that the universe splits itself, or rather creates the illusion of separation, so that one piece can be the observed piece, and the other piece can be the observer piece, and so it knows itself. The one splits itself so that it can know itself, having something to compare itself with, for when it is only one, there is nothing it can compare itself with to know what it is. Yourself, your spirit or soul, is eternal and existing across space and time. Now, the next decision you make will split the universe. You will be conscious to the part of the universe you choose. You will also exist in the other part that you did not choose, but you will not be awake to it, even though its essences will still come to you and help you know that which you chose, and vice versa. Other people who choose the other world you did not choose will be awake there and not here in your world. Now you can see how free will works out all the time without conflicting itself, and how truth can seemingly be contradictory, yet all true. The universe is also split into your present self, your past selves, and your future selves. But you are only awake to one of those selves at a time, your present self. But your future selves, for example, are able to warn your present awake self of things they went through and did not like, so that you do not go through them. It is a huge, ever-shifting matrix, a very complex one. The whole matrix shifts with every decision. Life is an eternal process existing all at once with all possible existences now, and only you can choose which one to be awake to from instance to instance. Physics is only now beginning to prove it. By the way, dreaming is simply another state of consciousness. When you dream, your consciousness is in another realm, world, or time. See where your dreams may be coming from now? All this will make more sense when you understand what time is and how it works. We now know that the entire universe came from a small subatomic particle-like existence. It has since been expanding at a rate faster than you can imagine. Oceans forming, worlds forming, and so on, all courtesy of quantum physics. But it is even more magical. The universe is continually giving birth to new universes. Many physicists now see evidence of this type of multiple worlds behavior, and several interpretations of quantum physics to this effect exist. Most physicists believe that this is a continuous but chaotic or random occurrence, largely because they have found no other reason for it. But ask yourself, what part does spirit play? What part do you play, yourself, your soul? Could your choices be the cause of this observed chaotic splitting of worlds? Physicists like to exclude spirit in their studies. Yet spirit is what gives rise to matter and not the other way around. Think about that. Einstein is one of the few physicists who refuse to believe that all this happens randomly or by chance. He said he refuses to believe that God plays dice. Know this, the quantum world is the real world. The world you see with your eyes is simply an imperfect perception of a group of quantum activity. Yet the quantum activity is caused by you. You are first cause. Never think that what you see with your eyes is first cause. It is just an effect. A good illustration of this is the famous Schrödinger's cat experiment by Erwin Schrödinger, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1933. It depicts what actually is happening when you place a cat in a box with a closed bottle of poison gas. You also place a device inside the box that will open the gas bottle and thus kill the cat. You then close the box so that you cannot see inside it. The gas in the bottle, by the way, only becomes poisonous if one particular radioactive atom in the box decays. Quantum physics shows that this radioactive atom exists simultaneously in the decayed and the not decayed states until it is measured, until you open the box and see whether the cat dies or not. Everything exists in all possible states until you observe it. You cannot know whether the cat is dead or alive without opening the box. While the box remains closed, the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. This is why quantum physics is so crazy. Two contradictory states actually coexist. When you opened the box to check whether that radioactive atom decayed or not, and therefore whether the cat died or not, is when one of the two of these outcomes will materialize. Yet, physicists now know that, number one, their expectations and thoughts influence the results. Number two, the multiple worlds interpretation tells us that both actually happened, but the world split into both of these, and we took that which we chose at some level. We now know that everything in the universe is a wave-particle duality. What this means is that everything, including your body and your car, is a wave and a particle at the same time. There is no difference between you and light, except for the fact that light has a different wavelength than you do, but you are pretty much the same thing as light. That is physics saying this now. Several thousand years ago, various spiritual teachers told us the same thing. We came from light. You are light. In fact, your body is over 99% space, were you to examine it under a microscope. The rest of it, the solid part, is just a collection of the exact same things that light is made of, the same subatomic particles. Actually, even the space is full of energy. Your mind, from your spirit, keeps your body together as a solid unit, and your mind does the same thing with other things around you. All matter is put together using information from your mind and the minds of those around you and the rest of the universe. Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, states that the energy contained in any matter is equal to the mass of that matter multiplied by the speed of light squared, and that is a very large number. This shows you that, number one, even the smallest tiny piece of matter has a tremendous amount of energy in it. That is how nuclear explosions happen. And number two, you and everything else is just energy arranged together by information from the mind. The subatomic world is not static at all. It is an amazing dance of never-ending creation and destruction, with particles destroying themselves and, in that very destruction, giving rise to new ones. Most subatomic particles have an imaginably short life, billionths of a second. The whole universe is forever being recreated anew. You can imagine it all being wiped clean and restored, just a little differently, every trillionth of a second or so. Okay, here's another amazing thing. When a particle is created, it is instantly traveling at the speed of light. Quite literally, we did come from light, as many creation stories go. One more thing, particles can move forwards and backwards in time. This is stuff you are made of and you are in control of. There is no such thing as empty space. All space is filled with energy, the same energy that makes you up and everything else. It is just that your five senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell do not detect the many varied other types of forms that exist in the universe. In other words, you can only detect forms that are detectable with those five senses, unless you have developed other senses. But that does not mean that these humanly detectable forms, physical forms, are the only things that exist in this universe. Think of the universe as a hologram. Anyway, the whole point of this is to know that you are part of one huge ocean of energy, and literally nothing separates you from anything else. The only separation you see is an illusion caused by the limited five senses you have. Quite literally, we are all one. We are one large organic whole whose parts are changing all the time. Each part can look at the other parts, and each part has its own level of consciousness and awareness. Yet, the whole acts exactly as a whole, while the parts act as a part of the whole, with individual and whole properties. Dr. J.S. Bell, a physicist at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, in Switzerland, came up with mathematical proof in 1964 that showed that all the separate parts of the universe are all connected in an immediate and close way. Many experiments now show that particles separated by space and time somehow know exactly what the other is doing at the exact time the other is doing that particular thing. In other words, they do not communicate. Communication takes time and requires a message. This is different. They know without having to communicate. They act simultaneously, as if they are intimately connected somehow across space and time in a way that does not get affected by the separation in space and time between them. The other profound thing that Bell's mathematical constructs show is that the action of a subatomic particle is dependent on something happening somewhere else to another subatomic particle. In other words, all subatomic events are effects of others and causes of others. This brings the law of cause and effect, or karma, of reaping and sowing to a completely new light. The law of cause and effect, karma, is not only spiritual but also scientific.
All along, we have said that all the universe's thoughts, individually and collectively, cause the energy to form into the physical reality we experience. This is so, but there is an even stronger cause.
This is being, the state of being. There are many states of being, such as being happy, fast, wealthy, and so on. This is the strongest cause, the first cause of all. It is so because it is the declaration of spirit, of self. From a state follows certain thoughts pertaining to that state.
Here is another way of looking at how we are all one. Science shows us that everything is made up of energy and exchanges that energy with everything else at all times in a most complex way.
Energy is the building block of all matter. The same energy that composes your flesh is the same one that composes the bricks of your house and the trees outside. There is no energy of the tree and energy of the man. It is all the same energy. Energy is constantly at flow, changing form all the time. This is a very simple explanation of a rather complex thing. At the quantum level, it all looks like one large pool of energy soup. An ocean of energy, one that is always flowing, one that has different concentrations and essences at various points. Imagine an ocean with a warm spot, a turbulent spot, and so on. The ocean represents the energy soup, and the spots represent various physical objects, such as your body or a tree. The warm spot exchanges water molecules with the rest of the ocean. The turbulent spot also exchanges water molecules with the rest of the ocean. But the essence of that warm spot remains warm, and of the turbulent spot remains turbulent.
There is exchange and flow on a molecular level, but on the larger levels, the spots remain warm or turbulent, even though the molecules that composed them a moment ago are gone and replaced by others from other regions. The molecules in a warm spot change, but the essence or characteristics of that spot remain warmth. The characteristics of a region can remain the same, even though the particles forming that region are always different, leaving and entering it from other regions.
This is how we look like on a quantum level, one large interconnected field of energy with localizations of characteristics. We share the same energy with everything else, even though we assume unique characteristics. It is a very complex matrix, a complex web. Now let's get a little more complicated than the ocean, for it cannot serve our explanations further. Imagine now that there are two people in a room. They are both gloomy and sad. Their energy level is low. One tells a joke and the other one laughs. The one telling a joke causes the one who starts to laugh to raise his or her energy level and become vibrant, laugh. This makes the one telling a joke laugh because there is new joy in the air and they are sharing a joke. Person A caused a change in person B and it went back to cause a change in A. Now have you noticed how you feel great after you tell jokes to many people and they laugh? How it feels greater than telling to one person only? And those people take your joke and they tell it on to other friends and friends of friends, and it spreads. Well, the universe is a whole lot more complicated than that. A shift on one part of the massive field of energy ripples on and causes shifts in the parts next to it, and they cause shifts in the part next to them, and the ripple goes on forever. Can you imagine that? Your smile changes the composition of an entire universe, scientifically. Your anger does the same. Anything you do, any thought you have, ripples on forever and changes the composition of the whole universe, however small that change is. Now here is something even more interesting. Because you're a part of that universe, that ripple comes back to you and gives you back a dose of similar essence. You cause a change in the energy field around and in you, and it ripples, touching everything. And everything, of course, ripples back in reaction, sending it back to you all multiplied. It is similar to the way ripples form in expanding circles when you dip your finger in a glass of calm water. But these waves go forever, and also bump into other energy localizations and cause changes in them, and these react, so to speak, and send back their own waves, and these sent back waves hit you and change you, and you react, and this amazing dance goes on and on. That is how, scientifically, the law of cause and effect works, and works multiplicatively. This happens on an energy level and on a spirit level. In both cases, the betterment of one individual in the system causes a betterment of the whole system, and betterment in the whole system causes betterment in the individual. The reverse is also true. All other things held constant, to the extent that an individual or society understands what they and their universe are made of and learns how to control that creation, so will they have wealth and happiness. That is our brief introduction into the stuff we are all made of. Do not worry if something did not make sense. It will make sense later as you go on with this program and listen to other things that are related to it. You do not need to master quantum physics to be wealthy. This chapter is enough. The point of this chapter was simply to show you what your world really is and begin to show you that you are in very direct control of it. The rest of this program will show you how to exercise that control and read the feedback it gives you. But in case you wish to learn more about quantum physics specifically, please feel free to do so. To learn more about quantum physics, visit www.imagesofone.com for more resources such as videos, articles, and book recommendations. Quantum physics shows you that the world is not the hard and unchangeable thing it may appear to be. Instead, it is a very fluid place continuously built up using our individual and collective thoughts and states of being as a society, country, family, planet, solar system, or universe. We have begun to uncover the illusion. We now know what our four-dimensional experiences are made of, and we have begun to see how we make them. The next step is to know what the other part of our world is, what the fourth dimension, time, really is. It is time to look at time. Let us move on into that. The truth about time. It does not exist except as you say it does. Time is a funny thing, a very funny thing. The biggest trick time ever played on us was to make us think it was real, and that we were under its full control. Yet time is a complete illusion, a strong and persistent illusion. What wonderful news that is. Time is an illusion created by you. Once you understand how this illusion is created by you, you then begin to recreate it as you wish, consciously and deliberately, instead of unconsciously and accidentally as you may have been doing. What is time? What do I have to do with time? How should I think and be about time so that I may experience wealth and other things in larger quantities faster? This chapter will begin to answer these questions. In other chapters in this book, these concepts will become more real to you. The only time that truly exists is now. The distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion, however persistent. Albert Einstein. Whether time is long or short, and whether space is broad or narrow, depend upon the mind. Those whose minds are at leisure can feel one day as a millennium, and those whose thoughts are expansive can perceive a small house to be as spacious as the universe. Hung Shu Sheng. Time flows in all directions, not forwards only as it appears to. The past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Here is an easy explanation of what time is. This is an extremely simplified explanation, but it will do for now. Imagine a football or soccer field with 10 objects spread around it. Now imagine that a certain object A represents a child being born, and a certain object B represents being a 10-year-old child. If object A was to travel to object B, this travel would take what you now call 10 years of time. That is 10 human years of a child growing up. Now it gets a little complex. What if the football field was to shrink? Object A would reach B and pass through all the experiences of 10 years of childhood, but the sensation of time would change. In other words, 10 years would feel very different. If that field shrunk enough, 10 years could feel like an instant. And you have experienced this often. When you're having a great time, you feel as if time flew by. You did not notice the hours pass, yet your watch said they passed because your watch is designed to take the same amount of time to move from 1 second marker on the clock face to the next. But you are not designed that way. Time is moving of your consciousness past pre-existing events in the space-time continuum. You will soon see what this is. The field of life that we live in is not static. It keeps changing its dimensions. That is why we have to keep readjusting our watches worldwide all the time for this crazy thing called time to make sense to us, but only because we think of time as consistent slices or periods. It is not. It is merely our misinterpretation of our consciousness moving by one pre-existing event in the field of life to the next event, as you shall soon see. The field of life is not static, nor does our consciousness move at a fixed speed. The field may not change that fast for us, and our consciousness may not change its rate that fast unless we will it to do so. And that is why we do not usually notice these differences that much and see that time is not constant. But if you were to travel very fast in a spaceship, as you may well have heard from Einstein's theory of relativity, you can slow down time or even go back in time. Time is more of a sensation of passing events, and the faster or slower you pass these events, the faster or slower the calibration of time changes. It is not the taking of time that changes, it is the calibration of time. 1 minute no longer takes 1 minute. Okay, back to the soccer field. Imagine you were one of the objects. You would feel time as you move around the field, passing other objects that you see, isn't it? Yes. Now, imagine that you were born moving faster, say 3 times the speed. Time would seem shorter. Now imagine that you were the soccer field itself, or even an object large enough to cover the whole field. Now we are talking. Time would cease to exist for you, because you are the field and you can feel, touch, and be with all the objects on you at the same time always. There would be no travel from one object to another. It would all be happening here, now, all of it. All the 10 objects would be happening at the same time for you, always. This is the eternal moment of now, here. Everything that can possibly happen in a universe, everything that can possibly be created, the past, present, and future, are all running at the same time in one huge field. Your consciousness and awareness are awake to only a small section of this field at any one time, and as you move them about from one point to another, you experience time, experiencing a sensation of past, present, and future. The field itself does not experience time. It only experiences an eternal process that is always happening all at one go. Now, here, always, always. You can think of the whole field as the source. As you expand your consciousness and awareness, as you take up more and more of the field, and time shrinks for you. Can you see that? Now the amazing thing is that the mind and the self, or soul and spirit, whichever you're used to referring to, is a lot larger than your physical body. We are used to thinking of the soul or self as a little thing contained inside our body. That is just human thinking, relating things to containers. Have you ever considered that the soul, being far more powerful than the body, actually holds the body together and surrounds it? And the mind holds the brain and nervous system together and surrounds it? If you have considered that the soul and the mind are larger than the body and brain, have you ever considered where they end? How many feet away from your body? Or how many miles away? Or how many light years away from your body does your soul end? It is not impossible that your soul and mind are 1,000,000,000 times larger than your body. Why not? They are infinite and eternal. Yet this humongous, powerful self is you. Anyway, let us get back to wealth. Understanding time clearly, how it works and how to take control of it, and understanding yourself and your self's composition and relation with everything else, physical and non-physical, is of high importance if you wish to experience massive wealth fast. It is all a matter of expanded consciousness, right state, and right thought and choice. These lead to your consciousness becoming awake to the wealthy parts of the whole and doing so in wider circles. Now is the only moment that exists. An eternal moment of now is all there is. You can remember the past and dream the future, but you can only be, exist, here, now. Make an irrevocable commitment to yourself to make now the best moment of your life ever. Do not dwell in the past or live in the future. Your only moment is now. Dwell in now. As you will soon see, your outer world mirrors your inner world. You will see in this book how this is so. Do you feel as if you do not have enough time to do what you wish to do? People short of time on the outside are short of it on the inside. They act, think, and speak believing they are short of time. Stop thinking and saying you do not have enough time. Do not believe that for a second. The universe has no shortages of anything, including time, and neither do you, except for the ones that you build for yourself. Believing in any sort of shortage makes your consciousness smaller and slower so that you may experience what you believe in. The present moment is the greatest gift you can have. It is perfectly created for you according to your stated designs. You state these designs by the thoughts, states of being, words, and actions that you held most true to yourself earlier. The present is something that you send yourself, a perfectly present moment. It allows you to experience, taste, review, and change your past thoughts, states of being, words, and actions. Be grateful for the present, for you know you can change it, for it allows you to experience yourself, for its entire existence is to serve you. Cursing, condemning, and judging the present moment will only keep it as it is longer. What you resist, judge, and condemn persists. What you embrace and bring to the light for non-judgmental, honest, and clear examination reveals the lessons you are looking for, the key to the next level that you seek. Time is only an illusion produced by the succession of our states of consciousness as we travel through eternal duration, and it does not exist where no consciousness exists in which the illusion can be produced, but lies asleep. H.P. Blavatsky. The future influences the present just as much as the past. Nietzsche. Don't chase and serve money, don't be enslaved by it or seek to hoard it in a trap. Instead, be with it and have a free and relaxed relationship with it. Appreciate and love it, and enjoy its function and attributes, which are the enabling of freedom and the flow of value. Money, value, is energy, and like energies attract while unlike energies repel. So have the energy attributes and vibration of money in you, and you will attract it. Do this by being happy, free, giving, and abundance-minded. Money enjoys and loves being in the presence of wealth consciousness. It loves the company of people who love and enjoy money, and like all of life, it multiplies and flourishes in the presence of the conditions that it loves. Treat money as a live personality. Treat it as you would a good friend. The more you give value by selling valuable goods and services, by showing others how to obtain value and wealth, by buying other people's products and services, and by sharing, the more the money comes back to you through the law of cause and effect. Dedicate a few minutes a day, every day, to the study of life, wealth, and your profession. If one person can accomplish $1 million worth of business in a given time, 3 people working together in harmony can accomplish much more than $3 million. When in harmony, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Involve like-minded people in your business to multiply your efforts and income. Be comfortable with money. Feel free around it. Talk about it. Treat it and love it as you would a close friend. In that attitude, you will attract it. If you fear it or refuse to love it, you repel it. Some people have a problem with loving money. The problem is that they do not love it. To attract money, you need to love money. To attract anything, loving it is the fastest way to do it. It is also true that you attract what you fear. But when you fear money, you do not attract money. You attract whatever it is that you fear about money. Some people say that loving money is wrong. They often say that the love of money is the root of all evil. Analyze that statement. The love of money in itself is not evil. It can just be the root to evil. Money itself is also not evil, but it can cause coveting, greed, and subsequently crime. Loving money is perfectly healthy as long as you do not develop that into greed and crime. In fact, loving anything, not just money, when taken in the wrong way, can be the root to crime. People have killed over the love of their romantic partners, property, and religion. Yet there is nothing evil about loving partners, property, or your faith. It is never love that is wrong, nor the item being loved. It is only when that love is expressed in an unhealthy manner that its effects can be considered wrong. So feel free to love money. Genuinely love it.
but watch yourself and do not let that love turn into greed and covetousness. But love it. Money moves to those who love it most. Money is a lovely thing. It is a statement of abundance, not scarcity. Abundance is the natural state of the source. It frees people to pay attention to other things in their life. Life is fantastic, so full of so much that we have not yet explored. Money frees you to explore avenues of life that you previously did not have a chance to explore. Money also gives people the ability to express their love, to give, to create, to share, to uplift others. Love money and it will love you. A very important and fundamental key to wealth is multiple sources of income. Build multiple sources of income for your life. There are numerous good books on this. Multiple sources of income are your key to financial freedom. They are a manifestation of your dynamic, free, and multidimensional nature. More accurately, make sure that each income stream is a business, not a job. A job is something that requires you to be there for it so that it can make money for you. A business is something that, once set up, does not need you to be there to keep going or growing. A job needs you, a business does not. That is the difference. Some businesses are actually jobs. You may own a business that is a job for you. It needs you to tend to it. Without your constant attention, it fails. Jobs take your time and freedom. Businesses give you time and freedom. A person with multiple streams of income from multiple businesses ends up with free time that he or she can use to live well and to launch more businesses if need be. Jobs never allow such liberties of free time to diversify and be free to enjoy other aspects of life. So, have multiple sources of income, but ensure each source is independent of you and has been built to do well without your constant attention. Teach wealth consciousness to your children from an early age. Remember, have multiple streams of income that do not need you to be present for them to keep producing. To have multiple sources of income, simply desire it to be so. Make it part of your goals. Visualize and start buying books, magazines, and talking to people. The right businesses, investments, and sources will then simply start coming to you. And always keep wise counsel. For everything, have a person who is of wealth consciousness and of specialization in the area to advise and counsel you. Learn also to trust your feelings, but not your emotions. Follow your desires. It is easy. Of highest importance, remember always that the universe gives you exactly what you are and think. Read this twice. If you believe that money is bad, is unworthy, is evil, is shameful, or anything else negative, and if you believe that you are none of those things yourself, you create a conflict within you. You would be giving the universe the message that you are a good and positive person and that money is a bad and negative thing. In such a case, in the interest of honoring your conflicting message, the universe would give you conflicting results, and you would end up with little money. You must honestly and genuinely identify your values within the values you assign to money. If you believe you are a good person, then truly believe money is a good thing, and vice versa. Those who believe they are good people and that money is bad end up with little money. Those who believe they are bad people and money is for good people end up with no money. Those who feel they love money and money loves them, that it is all good or bad just as they are, as one, are the ones that end up with it. The other thing to always remember, still on the same exactness topic, is that if you believe in abundance, you shall have it, and if you do not, you shall not have it. You must seek to understand intricately the abundance of the universe. See it, feel it, understand it, be it. You get exactly what you think and are. To the extent that you think of and believe in shortages, you shall have them. To the extent that you think of and believe in abundance, you shall have it. All other things held constant. To the extent that an individual or a society understands and uses money in the right, productive, and multiplicative way, so will they have wealth and happiness. That was a brief overview on how to handle the physical aspects of wealth consciousness. There is a lot more to know on specific aspects of money and business depending on what your business interests are. As a start, visit www.imagesofone.com and see the special reports and booklets section and the links and free resources as well. Many books have also been written worldwide on almost every current business topic,
so you will never lack the information you need when it comes to the handling of the physical aspects of wealth. The book you're reading now is primarily to take you on a quantum leap into the source of wealth, the non-physical aspects of wealth consciousness that so many others often ignore or are unaware of. Combine this wealth consciousness knowledge you now have with the appropriate books and information you can get your hands on regarding your chosen purpose and ventures, and you cannot possibly fail to be wealthy. It is impossible to fail.